Hello everyone, welcome back to Subway Builder. Last episode we built this water bus over here, even though, well, especially because water does not work in this game, we could just build a, well, a sort of light rail system which represents a bus, even though it does not go below this bridge because the bridge is at water level, but above it. So it's like a flying water bus, but it does represent a little bit how a real water bus, which is just a boat, but for public transport, how it would go. And what you will also see, because I went a bit ahead, is I already put some real life metro stations in here. But before I forgot, last time we also built this train line over here, which in real life it follows the river, but it doesn't stop really anywhere in between. So I thought it would be good to go through these villages, and that's what we did. Maybe later we'll link them up to the city of Den Haag as well. What I want to do this time is I want to focus on this metro line over here. And actually there are two metro lines that go towards this suburb of Rotterdam, which is the town of Spijkenisse. One is this north-south line. So you could in theory go from all the way from the city of The Hague to this town, but you would need to transfer either at Rotterdam or over here somewhere. But the line goes further south. It does go further south. You can go from Rotterdam, for example, all the way over here in this direction. And this green east-west line also goes to the south over here. So in reality, there's a line that continues west, which we replaced by a train system. But there's also a line that continues south. So I wanted to build these two lines to connect this city over here, and you will see that there is some demand in this city, but there is not a demand everywhere at all the stations in real life, so we will make some changes. But let's start building with these two metro lines. So first I want to focus on this line over here, the cyan line with lines D and F. And in reality there is another station over here. I think it would be good to keep that and not change too much about it. This over here is where in real life there's no metro station, but there is a shunting yard. And I wanted to try to build something that looks like a shunting yard here, where the metros can go to be serviced, cleaned, maintained, and so on. I thought it would be a nice extra touch of realism, even though of course it would do nothing for the game, because the game currently does not have that. I don't know if it will in the future, but at least at the moment trains do not need to go anywhere for repairs or cleaning or whatever. But I think this is a good location for another metro station. Hopefully from both sides of the station there will be some demand coming in, and maybe later we can make some kind of line, either tram, bus or whatever. But I think this is a decent location for a train station. So I will build that. Let me first check what is the height of this station. It's 5 meters below ground. I think, let's see, 4 or 5 meters, there's no difference in terms of cost. Also 4 meters we can go below roads, but not buildings, same for 5. So there's really no difference. Let's stay at 5. So I will delete this track and then add the actual station. We are building light metro now, because we're simulating the real metro line. Let's do that. Then we could go a little bit above ground here, just to go through this park where the real metro line goes. But I think it's fine to stay underground here. Let's go right between these buildings. And then I guess the metro goes in between these roads. I'm not sure. Maybe I should double check this. It does follow the road, yes. So this is a highway. And actually the metro, in real life, the metro, let me undo this, it goes besides the highway. It's a bit of a detail, but it's nice to have some kind of realism in there. And also, I think the metro might be going above ground here, but I'm not sure. I will keep it below ground for now. So we move towards this metro station over here. Let's not destroy this building. Like so. So these are, I guess, the real life metro station buildings. And then I want to follow the real metro line towards the shunting yard, which does nothing in the game. It's just there for realism. Although we might consider going in this direction over here. Let me actually see what is over there. So I believe in real life, these are just some, yeah, these are just residential areas. This is even part of Rotterdam still. It's not a separate town or anything. Unlike this part over here, which is a different town officially. I don't know why there's such a large demand. I saw some bus stations. Maybe it's a tram line. I'm not sure. It's called Carnisselanden. Might be the end of some kind of tram line. But I think I will ignore it because I wanted to go to this shunting yard. We might have some other line either from here, from this station, go in that direction, or some other line, I'm not sure. But for now we will ignore this part. There's also no worker demand, only residential demand, which makes sense as it's a residential area, but still, I find it a bit strange. I'm not sure what is happening. But that's what happens with the custom map. Okay, so we continue in this direction. And then I want to try my hand at building a shunting yard. Let's also start going above ground now, because for a shunting yard I think it makes sense to go above the ground. We will need to go 5 meters above ground to go over this road. So let me do that. And then let's move like this. Over the road, and then we go down again. I think it makes sense that in a shunting yard you will have people coming in to clean trains and such. I think it makes sense to be at ground level, so people can access the trains fairly easily. I'm not sure if the shunting yard in real life is actually at ground level or not. I have no idea. But let's make something nice out of this, just for some realism. So we have some parallel tracks. Actually, let's make it even nicer and have single tracks. Also, let me check what the shunting yard looks like more or less in reality. So they have, like, I guess, single tracks. So in this direction, and then they also have, well, they have a lot of tracks. It's quite a large shunting yard. Let's do it like this. Let's add even more. Let's keep it at 8 tracks. And then if the trains just want to go through, what do? I'm not sure. I think they will need to choose earlier whether to go to the shunting yard or not. So we can represent that by going above these tracks. So in reality, if I look at OpenStreetMap, somewhere over here they already need to decide, do we want to go to the shunting yard or do we want to continue? But we will keep it a bit more simple. It's not exactly like that. We will go like this. So this is just a normal line, but then we will add the possibility of going to the shunting yard. We need to go above the highway. Like this. Somewhere over here. Let's have a single track in this direction. Oh, that's not good. It's at elevation 5. But let's move it up a little bit to go 4 meters high. Now we need a larger elevation gap. 5 meters. That seems to be enough. Ah, the track is already 5 meters high, of course. Okay, so we can go underneath. Let me turn that on because there's a way to visualize the elevation. So here it's at 0. Here it becomes 5, which is a bit greenish. Here it's also like 5. Okay, so what we do is once we've crossed this road, we go towards like 3 elevation. No, we just stay at 5. I think that's easiest. We stay at 5 elevation. And then we cross like this. So this is all completely unnecessary, of course. I am very much aware. Oh, I did something. And then 2 meters. And then we do it like this. But it's just to have something, well, I don't know, something more aesthetic, let's say. Then we need to go above again. Let's first merge these. And then go to 5 meters. Wait, that does not make sense. Whoa, this is difficult because we cannot go above or below this one. You know what? Let's make things fancy. Let's see if we can go below this track. We can. And then we could make a circle. This is totally not what it looks like in real life, but I think it's quite kind of fun. We make a circle like this, except the curve is too sharp. Too sharp. Oh, but this works. Okay, then we will see if we can reach this point. So it's at 0 meters. This seems possible. Then before we go in the other direction, we still need to go towards these 2 lines. Let's move towards 0. And then connect these. And then we connect these as well. And of course, let's add some crossovers as well. Oh wait, that does not work because these are all single lines. Okay, this is really complicated. Okay, never mind. It's just for the looks. Oh. We'll just keep it for the looks. So we can also move from this part, which is more or less 5 meters. Is it? Okay, from this part, which should be 5 meters. Yes. We go in this direction. One splits off in this direction. And then we move towards 0 meters. That's too sharp. We move towards 0 meters, like so. And like so. That works. And then 0 meters. All this trouble just to clean some trains, some metros. Then here, we would want to merge these as soon as possible. To sharp. Merged. And then move towards elevation 5. Just so we can go above all these. Or could we go at 0 below these? Doesn't seem like it. Right, you know what? Maybe we can just go in this direction and make a curve. That's also not possible. We can go 5 meters high, but then here they are higher again also. So that does not work. I know. Let's go below it. 2 meters below ground. That works. So we do that. So then we're 2 meters below ground, and then we can connect to this again at whatever height this is, like 4 or 5 meters. Two meters high, and then 5 meters high. Like so. Then the other one, we're almost done. We connect them up. So now they're connected. Then we need to go above the road. So we need to go something like this. And then we connect these. And now we have our very own first shunting yard. Even though they cannot turn, they can only continue in the same direction after they have been cleaned. I think it will be fine because we can just add a crossover after that point, I think. Well, at the next station. So they need to go to the next station. But it's fine. It looks fancy, I think. So let's go back to the tracks. I think it looks cool. And then we can see which stations we want to go to. So these stations, they exist in real life, but they do not add anything in game. So we will skip them and we will move on to this part over here. So here it would be good to have multiple stations. I think maybe one over here, so a little bit more west compared to this one. And then maybe we skip this one and we add another one here. I think that would be best. So let's build the station above ground now. I think we're above ground, or else we will be. So we'll build it here. And then we will delete these stations because there's no demand. For some reason these villages do not really do anything in this custom map. Also no worker demand. So we continue in this direction. We are, I think, still at height 5, yes. So we stay at height 5 so we can cross these roads. And then we connect with our next station. Here there's a station building. We need to avoid this so we don't destroy it. We go around it because this station does not exist for our intents and purposes. Let's see, on which side do we want to be? It doesn't matter too much, I think. Let's go on this side. Here's another station building, but the game does not recognize these villages, so we will ignore it. And then we continue towards this station, which in real life is the station of, I think it's Tussenwater. So let's give it that name. Let's also add a crossover here, even though it's not really necessary, but it's more for the shunting yard. Poor trains, they need to, when they are cleaned, that they need to go back, they need to go all the way over here and then return. But I don't want to make this shunting yard even more complicated. It already looks quite daunting, I would say. Let's delete this station because people here can just walk to this station. It's not too far. And we'll add this station. This one seems fine. So let's delete this track and let's add a station over here. And this one is called, so the one we just deleted is Hoogvliet. This one is called Zalmplaat. And we connect them. If we can make this curve, seems like it's possible. So now these stations are connected, almost. Curve too steep, too sharp. Let's start over here then. And like this. Right, then we check these next few stations. There are only 3 left, it seems. Here there's a lot of demand. So maybe we can even move this station a little bit more to this direction. And then here the demand is a bit smaller, but still enough to, I would say, keep these 2 stations over there. And maybe we will, at some point in the future, even continue in this direction. So this is the city of Spijkenisse, or the town, I should say. For some reason there's a lot of demand in this little town over here, which I don't even know. It's called Zuidland, I've never heard of it. And then we have the town of Hellevoetsluis over here. So in real life I don't think there's any metro or tram. Probably there's a bus. But for now we will just stop here because we are just building these metro lines. And then we'll see what we do with it in the future. So let's continue in this direction. We have to cross the river over here, but we are 5 meters above ground. I think it's okay to have this as a bridge. As long as we don't destroy any buildings, we should be fine. And I think I said I wanted to move the station a little bit. Yes, let's build it over here. So let me look up the name of this station. It is Spijkenisse Centrum, although we moved it a little bit. And then we have this instead of this station, of course. So we delete this one. But then we have 2 more stations. And I think we move this one a little bit up to the north. let's delete this, because this is called, well, it's the real station is just the name of one of these streets. So Heemraadlaan, in fact. So I'm fine with keeping the name of this street that is generated automatically. Let's connect that. And we'll stay 5 meters above ground so we can go above the road. Like so. And then there we have our last station, which is called the Akkers, which is the end point of the metro line, in real life at least. Maybe here we go even further in the future to satisfy these demands over here. So let's keep open the possibility to continue towards the west. And therefore let's put the station maybe on this street over here. We'll keep the same name. Oh, Herfstakker, I like it. It's not just the akkers, multiple. It's one akker. Akker means like, what's the English word? Like a not pasture, but a field of crops. So this one is a field of crops of autumn. I think it's a nice poetic name. Let's go elevation 4 for a little bit. Maybe we can do it earlier even, because we don't need to cross roads for a while. Only this part. Then we go 4. If we can go in between the roads. Let's try to avoid going over water. And then we need to go to 5 at some point again. So here's the real station building. Now we put it a bit more to the north. Like so. So now we have the possibility to continue westward. In fact, there seems to be something here. And from OpenStreetMap, I think I know what it is. This part seems to be a footpath, but here there seems to be some kind of endpoint for the trams, for the metro line. So it's not really a way to turn them around, but it's just like, yeah, how do you call this? Like a barrier. So it continues this way, and then maybe they can even park the trains. Actually, I like that. Let's make this more realistic, and this would be a part where our vehicles are parked. So the game does not have this, but I think it's nice to be able to visualize something like that. So this is where during the night the vehicles are basically stored. And then they come, and then they join the real network over here. We do need a crossover here, because yeah, else they would need to turn around. How would this work? No, I don't think we put a crossover here. We just put it here to keep it simple for the game. And that is our cyan line extended. So now all we need to do is build this. It costs 700 million. We have enough, more than enough money. So let's build. And then we can extend our line. So we select our D route. Yes. This route will continue. It will go back and forth here. And then here. And then it will pretend to do a lot of interesting things, but we'll just go straight through. Ignore these villages, they don't have demand. It goes here, here, Spijkenisse Centrum, Hekelingsseweg, and it will end at Herfstakker. Alright, perfect. Confirm changes. Then is the question what we want to do with the other lines. So this was the D line. So in real life, the line that goes, there's one line that goes from somewhere over here in the middle between Den Haag and Rotterdam all the way to the end here. That would be the D line in real life. And there's one that goes all the way from Den Haag until this station over here, Slinge. Wait, what is happening with this? Okay. Something's going wrong. Does our line not stop at Metroplane? Seems like it doesn't. Let's add these. Confirm. Okay, now it stopped there also. So the question is, how far do we want the other line? Oh, yeah, the E line, I think. Yes, how far do we want this one to continue? And so in real life, it continues all the way until this new station Slinge. I think that would be good, because then it can just go to the shunting yard whenever it pleases. But it does kind of remove the necessity of having this F line over here. So I think what we will do is we will remove this F line. It might seem drastic, but we don't really need it anymore. So let's remove all the trains. And then see if we can delete this F line. Cannot delete route with trains on it. Maybe later, when the trains are gone somehow, it will work. So the trains are going somewhere, I don't know. With our E line, we will extend it a little bit. So then it's more similar to what happens in real life. So our E line, right now, it stops at Rotterdam Centraal, the metro. We'll let it continue. And then it goes south to Beurs, to Leuvenhaven. Oh. Wilhelminaplein, Maashaven Noordzijde, Maashaven, Metroplein, and it will end here at Slinge. Wait, before I do that, confirm. We need to build a transfer track there. A crossover, I mean. Let's build that. And then we can have our D line extend all the way to Slinge. No, not the D line, sorry. Discard. The E line. So extend all the way to Slinge and then go back. Yes, that seems to work. Also, let me change how it goes at Rotterdam Centraal, because we made these outer platforms on purpose for the other line that goes past Rotterdam Centraal, but it stops there. So I think it's nice if this line has it. Confirm. Then of course we need a lot more trains, because now we have 20 minutes frequency. Let's up that to 11 minutes frequency. And during the night, maybe 20 minutes frequency. Then the other line, the D line, will also up it to 11 minutes frequency, and during the night 20 minutes frequency. Alright. I think this works. Let me check. So our F line has no trains anymore, so we can remove it. Well, it doesn't work right now, it still has some train. This one is still riding the F line. I guess it will finish its job and then it will be gone. Before we remove it, let's see if the D line works properly. So this is the D line. It goes all the way to these outskirts of Rotterdam, the town of Spijkenisse. Then it returns and then it's at Rotterdam Station. That works fine. Then we have the E line. Let's follow this train. It goes between Den Haag and Rotterdam. It goes past, well, on the outer skirts of Rotterdam Station, somewhere over here. Yes, that seems to work. And it will return back towards Den Haag. Let's see if it takes the outer platforms. Yes. So that seems to work. And then we still have our F line somewhere. Or maybe not anymore. Maybe we can remove it now. So let's do that. Yes, F line gone. We just have these two lines, just like in real life, except that the D line in real life, it starts somewhere over here. But I think it's fine if it just does this Rotterdam area over here. Alright, then there's one more thing I want to do this episode, and that's build this other metro line that also goes towards this town of Spijkenisse. So I've already put down these placeholders, and they're actually built because I clicked build blueprints, which is not intentional, but okay, so be it. But let's check the demand. And over here, there's only this demand bubble that we could satisfy, but it's already a train station. So, and also there's another thing. So here, right here, we don't have a train station. So we have the problem that we would want this metro station over here to satisfy this demand, but it then goes in this direction, but there's nothing here. At least in real life there is. We have these this sort of village. It's a village in between rivers and in between industry, in between other Rotterdam neighborhoods and other villages. I think it's where the harbor workers used to live, of this harbor area over here. But we don't have any demand according to this map. We do have demand over here. So let me check what is there in real life, because I think that is more or less the harbor. Yeah, so this is the city of Pernis, and this is the town, and this is the town of Hague. And there is quite some demand here, also some worker demand. But in real life, there is... Let me check what's there in real life, actually. It seems like in real life there's only bus and freight train over here, because this is still sort of like a harbor area. So what I think we will do is, instead of moving in this direction, we take our metro line and make it move in this direction, starting from this Schiedam Centrum station over here. Also, where did the demand go? I thought there was a lot of demand here. But apparently there isn't, but still there are a lot of passengers transferring between tracks. Okay. So I think it's still good to go south, but let's try to go south and move through this village of Heiplaat instead of this one. And then we can join up and just continue the line together with the other line. So we join the lines there. So let's try. Let's see if we can do it. So we somehow need to go from here to the south. So we need to make some kind of turnaround. And this station is at -5 meters. So what we could try to do is make some kind of curve or some turn, because we do need to go towards this area. So maybe we can follow this river somehow. Let's try. So we are at -5. So this is a metro. And let's see if we can go in between these buildings. It's a bit tricky. It seems to work so far. It will move fairly slowly, but that is okay. Then here we can start picking up some speed. Except there's a building here. How do you want to do this? Maybe we make a turn, yet another turn. Like this. Then we just follow the water here. And I don't know what these circles are. They look very interesting. I thought it was a demand bubble for 1 second. Let's not destroy any buildings. Then we want to go in this direction. So we go to the west of this river. Then let's see where the demand is exactly, this demand bubble. It's over here. So if we go in this direction, let's see, we could turn here and then follow the road and build a station here. I think that would be best. So let's build a station over here, see if we can manage to connect it. But we do need to make a tight curve over here. Or we cross the water here. Hey, look, there are some buildings on the water that are invisible. Interesting. Yes, let's go like this. And then we follow the road in this direction and we move south. Too sharp. That works. And so in real life there is no station in that area, but I like this name, Portugalsestraat, because Portugal is one of the villages in this area somewhere. I think it's, yeah, Portugal is a village that's over here. And we are moving in that direction, so I like this. Let's check the demand again. So now we want to cross the river and build either 1 or 2 stations here. Let's see if we can build 2. So we would want a station over here. And I think, if possible, we want to make a bridge, not a tunnel, but I think that will be very difficult. Unless we make some fancy maneuvers here. But fancy maneuvers are more fun, so we could try. So we could go, for example, like this, and then start moving above ground. Then start moving above ground further towards elevation 5. And then we can build a bridge that is 5 meters above ground. And then build a station here for which the same holds, because this is where the demand was, right? Yes. Large demand bubble. Let's build this station. Quarantaineweg. Not sure what I think about that. Let's call this... So this is next to a harbor called Hague Haven. Let's first connect this up. And then let's call it Hague Haven. Because that is just the name of this harbor. And this is really a harbor area. So I don't want to use the street name, but the harbor name. If we can connect this, that is. Too sharp. Like so. And we call this Haven. It's actually not with the Dutch Y, but with the Greek Y, as we call it. Haven. And then we check the demand, and we add another station over here. Also at height 5. So we're above ground now. Let's connect these. Avoid destroying buildings. Like so. So this one we will just name after the village that's here. And that's called Heiplaat. So in here we have the Dutch Y, which is an I and a J together. And then I think there's no demand anymore. So we can just connect this up. Then let's go something like this. And let's connect like this. So there will be trains crossing now. Actually, that's something I don't like, but I don't see a better way. We might make some other fancy kind of junction. Look, I built something. So if we come from the north to the south, easy, we go this way. But for the other way around, over here, you need to decide you want to go in this direction. You go under yourself, a bit underground even, so it's at minus a little bit. Here it's at -4. Under the highway in some kind of tunnel, and then here we move up again and we go in this direction. So we make this even more complicated area, but I think it's fun. I like a challenge here. Then let me delete these other tracks. We wasted some money of them. We accidentally might have destroyed some buildings there, but that's okay. So over here it joins the other line. So then we need to, of course, extend this ABC line. And what I will do is I will just add one of them. In real life, it's the C line that goes south. So let's add a separate C line. And in real life, it has a red color on the maps. So where does this line go? It starts all the way in the east here. And it goes west, just like the ABC line does. To Black and Beurs, where people can transfer on other tracks. To Koolhaven, Delfshaven. This station that does not exist in real life, I think. And Schiedam Centrum, but then it continues to this area, which, okay, we still need to build it. We have enough money. Yeah, here's the C line. Oh, if it's a different color, it's a separate one. Okay, that's fine. It's the C line. We continue towards the west to Portugalse We cross the river, go to Heisehaven, Heiplaat, and then over here we do the same as this. It joins this D line over here. Go to these stations in Spijkenisse. And it ends here at Herfstakker. So this is a new red line. Let's confirm. Of course, I think we already had a red. Did we already have a red line? We did not, so this is our red line. The other ones are A and B lines, which also have a difference in the west and in the east, just like this green line, but this part is the same for A, B, and C. But the C line, okay, we do need to determine that we have 4 cars per train, because this is a metro, not a tram. And we buy some more train cars. We have more train cars, right? Every 12 minutes? Sure. Every 12 minutes there's a train. Also during the day. And then during the night, every 22 minutes. Alright. Let's see if that works. Let's follow one of these new C trains. So it continues in this direction. And then here it will... That part is easy. Then let's see how it performs on the way back. And here it will return in this direction. Oh, it did something weird. What is happening? Goes to Zandplaat. Goes to Tussenwater. Needs to wait. Ah, then it goes. I think something weird is happening there. Tussenwater. Okay, but here it does make this turn over here. It's fairly slow because there's a lot of elevation difference, but it does join up with the rest of this station. So let me check what went wrong there. And then it continues east, of course. Perfect. So something went wrong at this station Tussenwater. I guess something went wrong with my junction. You know what? I will call it here, because this episode is getting quite long. I think something is going wrong with all of this. So I will fix it off camera, and then hopefully it will be fixed the next time. But what we did this episode is we extended this line over here towards the city of Spijkenisse. And we also extended the green line, which now also has a red line, and it joins up this line, even though in real life it goes over here. Due to the demand bubbles, we made it go over here, through the harbor, and then also towards the city of Spijkenisse. So I hope I can fix this off camera. Next time we might connect some other towns that are a bit further away, maybe also these ones over here, or these ones, and we will see how far we get with connecting everything that is on this custom map of the Rotterdam, The Hague area. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you in the next time.